Am I the asshole for throwing my wife a surprise pregnancy? My 58M wife, 17F, has always said she doesn't want children, which is of course ridiculous since she is a woman. Rather than argue with her about it, I decided to prove her wrong. So one night while she was sleeping, I secretly impregnated her with a turkey baster. I then spent the next 9 months concealing her pregnancy from her. Believe me, it wasn't always easy, but I knew it would be worth it when she looked at our precious child's face for the first time. So when she started to show, I would throw her off the trail by commenting on how fat she was getting and that she must be eating like a starving hog to be packing on so many pounds. I also made sure to say this in front of all her friends and family so that they wouldn't realize she was pregnant and ruin the surprise. Each time, my wife would burst into tears and tell me I was an asshole, but I knew that was the hormones talking. As it came closer to the big day, I began planning an elaborate surprise birth. I invited all of our family members, friends, neighbors, co-workers, acquaintances, TikTok followers, strangers I made eye contact with on the subway, and the local guy who chews on his shirt collar and stands at the side of the road waving to the passing cars. I got the best obstetrician I could find to perform the labor induction and delivery. I rented a top-of-the-line maternity bed and placed it in a beautiful spot in our backyard. And I made my famous 7-layer dip. When all the guests had arrived, I brought my wife outside. She was very confused as I led her to the maternity bed and picked up a microphone. I explained to the crowd what was about to happen. There were gasps of surprise. Some people were so thrilled they couldn't even speak, just stared in disbelief. My mother-in-law fainted from the excitement. Someone yelled out, "What the F is wrong with you?" So I immediately looked at my wife to see what she was doing. She was just standing there, frozen like a deer in the headlights. I admit I was a little annoyed and said, "Well, aren't you going to thank me?" That snapped her out of it. But instead of thanking with me, she started screaming that I was insane and had violated her right to control her own body. I knew that she was going into labor, so I could have let that slide. But the guests were horribly offended by her rudeness and started yelling that they were going to call the police and have that mofo arrested. I did start to feel bad at that point, because even if she was somewhat ungrateful, my wife didn't deserve this level of threats and name-calling. I was trying to calm the crowd, who were now getting violent. They were descending on us, screaming about abuse and grabbing at me, I assumed to protect me from my wife's rage. But just then, her contractions started and they backed away. A few hours later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. I haven't seen my wife or child since. They were taken to a hospital and they will not let me in. I'm writing this from outside, 1,000 feet from the premises. I've been told that I am not allowed to get any closer to my wife than that, I assume, because the staff members are a bunch of snowflakes who still think COVID is real. I've had a lot of time to reflect, and I can't help but wonder if I might have been an asshole for not taking my wife to get her hair done the morning of the surprise birth, so she'd look nice in the photos. Aita, wow! I can't believe the way my inbox is blowing up. Thank you to the more than 10 people who reassured me that I'm not the asshole and that my wife is just gaslighting me. For those few thousand of you that suggested I might be the asshole, I will not stoop to your level. I just hope y'all find Jesus. And for the nearly 1 million who requested my 7-layer dip recipe, check your inboxes.